To welcome our plenary speaker of the day two, Dr. Alisa Durgarayan. Let me introduce our plenary speaker, Alisa Durgarayan ma'am. He is a trainer of ESL, EFL, ESP, and also a teacher trainer, global educator, and international speaker. He did her doctorate at American State Pedagogical University. After KH Abhiyan Pedagogical Sciences, and she took her MAs in the fields of psychology and foreign languages, and she is an ESL teacher at Resident Basic School, N11 after William Saroyan, and ESL trainer at Sky English lecturer at Elta University in Krish Republic, and Dean of the Faculty Conflict and Peace at World University of Leadership and Management teacher trainer in many countries. She is a teacher trainer at Edu America, British Council American branch, ITTI Armenia, etc. She has taken part in many different international conferences as a speaker in different international projects as an EFL trainer, and she is also the author of many scientific articles in the field of teaching English as a second foreign language. Pedagogy. Currently, she is a volunteer in different international projects and companies such as HETT, Edu Armenia, especially during war period, Elta University, etc. She is in lifelong education, and she is also training on TESOL and TKT modules, CETFL program at American University in Armenia, Business English course. She has participated in different international projects as an EFL, ESL, ESP trainer, and she is training foreign. She has trained foreign students and teachers, professors, etc. Ma'am, Alice ma'am, really, we feel very much happy to have you as a resource person for this today's international conference. And ma'am, now the session is yours to begin your thought-provoking speech, ma'am.
Okay, thank you for the introduction. Good morning one more time.
Good morning.
It's also a pleasure for me to be here and also to try to represent a very important and at the same time a very interesting topic because being a psychologist, being an educator, it's very important one, not only for teaching, not only for learning or transferring some kind of education or knowledge or skills, but at the same time being a psychologist, it means also a very important thing, first of all, for you as an identity, because for a person, it's not only important to be educated, but also to be able to be like a person who can solve his or her problems alone, not only alone in some cases, also with the help of the friends, but also to be able to be cautious to understand every kind of simple kind of problem. That's why today we are going to talk a very important topic, which is called like identity crisis. And let me at first share my screen, and then we shall continue our topic. And now, just to be okay. Just a question. Do you see my screen? Is it visible for you?
Yes, ma'am, it is visible.
Okay, it's great. Now we are going to talk about the identity crisis. Later, I will make it full screen. But at first, let's start. What is identity? Is it like a definition of a word, of a person, of someone, or it's going to be like something that really we need to explore, to investigate, and to know more? um, having different kinds of definitions, starting like it's a person, can be in some cases it can be like a personality. Different cases it has different kinds of meaning, starting from the aims that usually people have, starting from the goals or objectives. In some cases also now outcomes, even the stress and different kinds of distresses or any kind of failures, our success and many other things can be. Everything can be like in a globe is a framework of identity because it's a personality with all the sides, with all characteristic features that usually we have, and it is called like an identity. It differs depending on what part, on what sphere, or what point of view we are going to explore the identity of a human person. And according to it, we are going just to know and investigate more and more details about the identity. Now let's go and start about another thing about the crisis, because in many cases it is said that crisis it can be like a solution of a problem. Crisis can be another success of a person, depending on can be positive and negative things. And many psychologists have explored this question, this problem, and have different kinds of works on it. Today, a little bit, I will talk about only Erik Erikson, one of the most famous psychologists in the world, because Erik Erikson was the one who uh, paid more attention to the stages of the identity and at the same time to the development of the identity. In other cases, in other words of psychologists, we can see the stages of identity, how the person develops, starting from before birth and after birth time and during the whole life. But let's a little bit pay more attention to the development of identity from the point of view of Erik Erikson, because he was a fundamental psychologist, psychoanalyst who, for the first time, brought the fundament of identity crisis, starting not only describing the person with its features, but at the same time trying to give real description of the personality. And also, we introduced the ideas of identity crisis because um, he tried to give not only the description, but at the same time, what are the sources and how can be the description of identity crisis, because it is connected with the life crises, and in this case, it can be just uh, described like a life crisis, because only having this, the people, the human, the person who just recognizes all distress to describe his or her condition at the same time, especially in the framework of crisis, uh, he sometimes has a barrier, because it's a barrier of life stage crises. And according to it, the psychologist or the person who is working with this person can just identify it at the same time, find out what is the problem, and while investigating the problem, they can come to a solution and solve this problem. And especially, it's very important part from is not all going through all the stages through the identity crisis. Um, for example, we can just describe the midlife crisis, which I think one of the most important periods of the person is the person when you are consciously knowing where you are, what do you want, and where you are going, what are your goals, what in general do you want to learn from the life, what you have achieved. In some cases, in order to understand the psychology of Erikson from the point of view of identity of uh, crisis, let's go see what can we meet in his psychology. A sense of identity which helps people to interact, to it can make reduce the confusion, anxiety, guide a person choices. It, in a nutshell, it can just uh, helps the people to go through and to know more about their identity, about their choices, and according to these choices, they can come to a real and also at the same time such kind of solutions that they will not only just solve their problem, but at the same time reduce the uh, possibility of being in crisis. And on the other hand, Erickson just argued that can't help to reject incongruent self-evaluations because he said that in order to come out to overcome the age crisis, the identity crisis, it's very important to be flexible and not to strive solely for a strong identity, just giving too much importance and at the same time too much, let's say, attention to that I am in an identity crisis. I can't do this one. Like in some cases, to think negatively from this point of view. That's why it's very important thing to think about the identity crisis from the point of like positively and just to be flexible in order to be able to solve it and in some cases to describe, to realize it, to accept it like something like a problem that really you would like to solve as a usual problem. And because when you pay much more and more attention to it, it can just deepen and deepen, and there will be time when there will be no other solution you can find, or even if there are any kind of solution, you will just think that it's not enough for you to um, solve this problem. That's why everything notes from the surface, but not to go so deep. And you can go deeper and deeper in order to find the source, the roots of it, but not so much. And let's go and find out first of all uh, what is symptom, what can be the symptoms of um, having uh, identity crisis, because sometimes we say that identity crisis can be like a confusion and uncertain situation for identity, for exploring and developing in some cases, why not helping them to know more about the identity, but at the same time we can have some kind of symptoms that really can work for us in order to know more about identity crisis. And sometimes in literature you can find different kinds of um, um, sources, different kinds of maybe books or work or researches which can tell you a lot of things about the identity crisis. But at the same time, in some cases, we can say that identity crisis can usually occurs when there is a change in person's life. And can happen at any time, starting from uh, going to school, which can be a crisis for a 7 or 6 year old child when for the first time he opens the door of the classroom and enters, starting from the maybe a little bit when you are adult and you can face such kind of problem when you enter the university or when you get married or when you want to get adapted after your marriage or for after the first. birth of the birth of your first child, etc. It's very important because it can also be a way to structure some parts of our life and choices and to make more manageable. In some cases, for example, if I think from my point of view as a teacher or as a trainer, uh, in order to find some solutions, I can think that it's really an identity crisis, or when I'm getting a new job and I try to be accustomed to this new place, it's also going to be like an identity one. And in my identity can include also being an extreme outdoor person or make travel plans or why not to learn something, some new information or and maybe let's say it's not short, not deep for a profession, but maybe something um, I will be interested in dancing, I don't know, or cooking or something. This also will be. And also, it's important for social connections or overall well-being because it can often be tied to communities like religion, political or social values, a shared language, cultural experiences, and more. And in this case, when you have strong communities, you are better positioned to build and to have your place in the world, and also to build strong social connections. And it, at the end, like an outcome of it, it can bring like kind of relationships can help straighten your mental fitness, your physical health, your mind, your ideas, and why not to set up new goals and go ahead. In some cases, in order to know um, if you are having a crisis, identity crisis, or um, not, sometimes we can be even in the middle of it without not realizing that there is a crisis or just claiming about it that, oh wow, why it has happened, why it is it, etc., etc. And in some cases, um, maybe different kinds of symptoms for it. For example, starting from the low self-esteem, or in some cases, not feeling a sense of purpose, or having no idea or no um, sense of living because identity crisis can have its positive and negative sides at the same time. It can be positively when you try to find a solution or when you want something new in your some changes in your life. But at the same time, from the negative point of view, it can have um, also negative results. Even in some cases, a person can go to suicide in order just thinking that this is the only solution for the problem. And let's let's go and look at the symptoms at identity crisis. Um, there are some kinds of um, points of view or maybe points that can help you really to go through asking some questions yourself in order to find out really it's going to be a identity crisis or not. The first one is going to be about the questioning who you are overall or with regard to certain life aspects such as relationship or age or career. Meaning, from my point of view, I can just have what kind of relationship my family members, our relationship with my children, with my husband, or with other family members. Sorry. Um, from the point of view of career, I can just speak about my career. Let's say stairs where I am. I'm still downstairs. or I'm going up, on what stage I'm in my career, have I achieved anything, and everything just try to discuss, to analyze from this point of view. The next stage goes to you are experiencing great personal conflict. There's a questioning of who you are or your role in society. Because at first I can just take a sheet of paper, a pen, and write down, mm, like sometimes we think, I remember sometimes when someone asked me, can you tell me, write something about your biography, who you are, who am I? Or there is a very interesting icebreaker. Sometimes we ask the participants, please um, draw a star, uh, write down 5 facts about you. I think from the first sight, it's a very interesting and it's very too easy, I'd say, task for me. But when you draw a star and try to remember what 5 important facts I can say, I can tell other people about me. Hmm, Let me think of maybe I am this one, I like this one, I would like to do this, or I don't like, I have never been, etc. Trying just analyzing and trying to find 5 more important facts. It's sometimes makes you trouble because you don't know which one is more important. Please send this one or this one, or you are writing something from your personal, but your family. Oh, I have forgotten something about my education. I have achieved this one, or from the point on in my career, I have promotion, etc. This is one that comes from the first stage, goes to the second stage, because you try to find out all the details to write down, but mm, then you see that questioning, okay, I have written these facts about me, but who am I in real life? What I have achieved, um, or what would I would like to have, or what am I going to do in my life to get something? And the conflict starts from this point, from this part, because you are starting questioning, really you have find some kinds of points and you are going to, mm, yeah, I have a problem, I'm going to solve it. And then maybe some kinds of big changes. I have got a promotion in my career, or I have got married, or some kinds of things that really have had a big impression on you. And from this point, you are going to explore yourself to get adapted to it. And from this point, you are going to be like to find your values, your goals, etc. And also, sorry, a little bit ill, and you are going to ask your questions about your values, about your dreams, about your aims, what do you want, or what have you achieved, why, and try to find solution in this field. And as you see, we are starting from the general one, and step by step we are going to specify what is the problem in real life. And in some cases, you are searching for more meaning, reason, or passion in your life, because at first I can just think of the ones that if I'm having some kind of problem and I can do this one, but at the same time, when I'm going to go through the stages and specify all this problem, I will come to the last stage of symptoms, and I will see that really not I'm just having this one. general so many problems. No, I have this specified problem and I'm going to solve this specified problem because in some cases we can say that really um, we have many problems, but when we analyze, when we try to find the meaning, the definition, or the characteristic features of this, we will see that really it's one problem. It may be just one problem, but with different kinds of branches. Um, it can be even a very not so important problem, but it at times just feel or seems that it's really important. But when we specify and find the source or the root of it, we will just be able to solve it very, very easily. And in some cases, uh, we can say that one identity crisis can go through, first of all, just consciously realizing that it's not such kind of real deep problem for us that we can solve, that we can, or something. No, if you just think of, if you just analyze, if you try to find some solutions, not one solution, some solutions for it, and after it, just trying to identify which one is the most appropriate one, it will just make you, it will just help you just to cautiously to find out the real just solution for it. And okay, you have no identity crisis at this moment because you have solved the problem that you really was troubling you. And also, in some cases, it is said that if I have some symptoms of identity crisis, I should go. Maybe I would apply for a psychologist if I'm not able at this moment to go deeper through it to find what is the problem. And in this case, or you can visit a psychiatrist who really can be helpful for you, can help you to just to cope and go through it and at the same time to solve this problem for you. Uh, in some cases, as you see, I have told symptoms of a depression or a stress. These are, let's say, the first signals for us that make you assured that you have um, crisis time, you have a problem, and you are going to investigate and find some solutions for it and try to find real solutions for this problem. It can start from the mood, can start from the loss of interest in many things. It can be changes even in appetite or weight, issues of concentration, energy levels, motivation, and sleep. Everything that can be considered be in the framework of identity crisis. Because identity crisis, uh, first of all, the main question that is going to be built: who you are. Are you on a position that you really wanted to be, or you are going to be, or something? And according to it, starting different kind of like negative things that make you think, or when you have failure, you always, I failed. I'm not the one that can have a success or something. And while thinking, you just gaining more things about that. And there is a time that it can be like an explosion of frustration, depression, or stress, or some kind of negative situations that makes you realize that you are in a trouble, you are in a crisis, and you are not alone. You are going to really to solve this. And but in some cases, if you are experiencing an identity crisis, And you might be just questioning your sense of self and identity. They mm, can often occur due to big changes or stresses in life, or due to factors such as age or advancement from a certain stage, for example, from childhood going to school or something. And completely normal, for example, to question who you are, especially when we change throughout our lives, when we change our career, when we change our profession, when we change our place of even and settle down to another, or when we relocate to another place. And however, when it begins to affect your daily thinking and functioning, you may be having a crisis of identity. In some cases, it is said that it is more serious than we think, and but we should just think that any type of crisis can also result in a decline in your mental health because viewing yourself or on your life or what negative things or something terrible has happened that can make you bring to a crisis. Uh, it has shown that to be a marker in some cases, like to underline, to know more about the depression, about the stress, and it makes you just think and go ahead without being afraid of losing or something because you are going to solve this problem. And sometimes, if you have any such kind of signs of depression, consider seeking help. Be afraid to ask your friend, your colleague, your family members to help you to solve this problem. And in some cases, that you can just ask that your family member even or a psychologist to help you. And but some there are some cases that really are very troubling and not giving you enough time or enough, let's say, a sensitivity just to feel it or to find a solution. And oftentimes the identity crisis or other mental health issues can arise due to major life stressors. And these stressors don't have to be like bad, but they can still cause a lot of stress for us, which can bring to identity crisis too. And these and such kind of stressors can certainly, that I have just mentioned here, can certainly have an impact on your daily life and how you see yourself. And there are going to be different kinds of like signs or treatments offered by um, other people in order to find out the source or the root of it and try to help you to solve this problem. Let's go and a little bit talk about the treatment because there are different ones, different sides, different points of view on it. And according to it, we can just have different kinds of help, starting from the psychotherapy, going to the group therapy or medication. Depending on the source and how important or how difficult uh, crisis you have in your life, depending on it, you can choose the type, and the psychologist also can offer you the type of treatment in this case. For example, I can say that uh, my identity, for example, or this identity crisis is very really negative one, and it's very mm, just impossible in some cases to solve or something. And according to it, you can just go through it and try to find more solutions for them and try to know what is it, how you can just do it, and how you can go through it. One of the first ways that is represented is going to be like psychotherapy, which is can be helpful for addressing some of the underlying issues that might be contributing to your identity crisis. And in some cases, especially in psychology, we know about the cognitive behavioral therapy, which works to address the negative thoughts and behaviors that may um, just be the issues with you or your point of view. Uh, this therapy is very important one because in this case, the person and the psychologists they are going to work out the behavior of the person who is having the identity crisis. Not only working, finding out, but also trying to change the negative one into the positive one. While changing them, you will see that really these are a real great work done by the person and the psychologist, a cooperation work, a teamwork, or which will just give its result going to solve these crisis, identity crisis problem. The second one is going to be like a group therapy because some studies have found that group therapy to be helpful for treatment identity crisis, especially in some cases when um, it can give you positive results when there is a group who have nearly the same problem, like for example, a person who can have some failures in his career or personal life, and it has brought to the massive usage of alcohol. And in this case, while having a group therapy, you will see many people, or even people who have already had such kind of problem, and now after solving it, they are the ones that really help. The group has helped with their stories, with their motivation, with their encouragement in order to solve it. And also medication, which are accompanied in some cases if a person has an anxiety or depression, you can just go some kinds of medications like anti-anxiety or antidepressant medicine in order to help you. This is from maybe a solution from the point of uh, medicine, but in some cases it can bring you to a dependence of medication because there can be a period when you can use this medicine, take this medicine, but after some time when you just stop, give up using it, use it off a little bit more. Oh, I'm going to use or uh, there was a time when the medication really helped me. But I think that from the other point, first of all, the identity crisis can be solved not maybe with the psychotherapy or a group therapy medication, but for a short time, for a short period, not so seriously concentrating on the medication because it's a good thing, but at the same time it has its negative just influence too. And what can we do in order to cope with an identity crisis from the point of psychology, from the point of the just psychology and what solution we can have in our life? In many cases, there are some kind of steps that really can be working one or helpful for us. And one of them is acknowledging and accept your feelings, because when you seek to identify and understand the feelings, your senses, what you have about your identity, that acknowledge and accept that. There can be a situation. For example, when I say, I have a failure in passing my exams, what is it, and then try to explore myself to find out for real why I always spend passing the exam. Try to find the real cause for it and to accept, to acknowledge it. For example, maybe I have a fear of being in a stressful situation. I fear of I have a fear of failing, not passing the exam, or not remembering, or not giving much time on it, etc. etc. There are many different kinds of questions that really can be workful for us. There are different kinds of situations that will be really workful for the solution of such kind of. Try to accept everything. Trust, tell yourself that it's okay that to feel the way you do, or extending some grace to yourself as you would be when you are a friend or when you are just trying to help your friend with the same situation. The second point, the second stage is going to be to explore your beliefs and interests. Sorry, just is my
It's
screen is it
okay.
okay? Just a second. It just let me make it bigger. To explore your beliefs and interests and try to find what you want. What are your interests and which can be helpful really to solve the problem, and what you are interested in, and are there things that you no longer you like them, or maybe in some cases try to find your interest and help yourself. For example, if you want to train your brain, you can start learning a new language, which really trains your brain because uh, you have or you have you are too tired, you have a stress and you don't want to work on your article, let's take a little bit higher stage when you are writing an article. I'm in stress, I have no time, I can't manage, etc. etc. Try to relax, try to mm, really think of about the interest. Maybe I like reading very much, and maybe I will find or I will take a book to read it, and in order just to a little bit think, maybe while reading, I will find an interesting right idea for my article, or maybe I will take a motivational film or book or TED talk, listen to, and it really can help you just to know and what you believe. If I believe that I can do, the first maybe believe for me, and really I will do it and will succeed at the end. And also consider your goals. What do you want in your life? Because in some cases it is said that um, knowing what kind of goals you have will help you to consider and to find, let's say, your place in the society, in your life, in your career, in your family, etc. And what types of things, first of all, to consider that make you be joyful and happy. Maybe if I'm very happy in my scientific field, when or when I publish an article or write a book or something like it will make just me joyful or happy. Really, and let this strong point used in order to struggle against the negative, let's say, atmosphere, negative word that just disturbs or troubles me to work positively. And having a real and concrete goals, it will help me to make a plan, to go through the steps of the plan, and to make my goal achievable for me. And it will really make me happy and joyful. And also, it's very important to get support from everyone, to get support from family, from colleagues, from friends, and why not from psychotherapists or from the psychologist, which also they can be helpful for you. Maybe it will be a problem that you realize, or in some cases not realizing that it's a problem, and mm, you take everything analyze from the point of view. But it's very important to know everything from other side, because when you also analyze the same problem from the other side, you compare, you try to find some differences and also similarities between them, which will help you just to know more, to differentiate what is important for you. And in this case, maybe your friend, psychologist, or someone be really helpful for you, because you can get a right solution. You can make a right decision, let's say, for it. And from this point, you can really very, very easily solve your problem and go to the part that really it will be helpful for me to go and to know more about the problem and to find maybe a real solution for my mm, problem. And in some cases, when we have an identity crisis, it can be like an uncertain and confusion part of a person's life. But it doesn't mean that we can't solve this kind of problem, and you can you can't find a solution for it. Now, just try to go through all these points and try to find a real solution for it. Because when you question, when you like to find, in some cases, a real uh, solution for it, you will say that this is not going to be like an identity crisis for you. To have already achieved something, you have already get your place in the society, and you are on a position that it's at this moment maybe is enough for you, but for promotion, for having more and more achievement, you have to go ahead and to know more. That's why it's always try to go through it, try to find a solution, maybe coming from starting from your help, going to professional help, and in some cases maybe the evaluation of uh, having a treatment or being acknowledged what you have done, what you have achieved will be really very helpful for you, because it will just help you to know more about it. And next time you will be like consciously go and try to find yourself for you. But let's say that it's really some cases like symbols or something that makes you just be always awake to know, to just to accept some negative things and challenge challenge in some cases to turn to change your negative thoughts, your negative ideas, then express yourself, engage in some cases, learn more, avoid negative coping, and etc. I think there are different kinds of maybe mm, uh, in some cases different kinds of just opportunities for you that you can just go and according to these opportunities to solve your identity crisis. I think it's all can be helpful. All these um, points to know, to realize what is identity crisis, what can you do, and how, what kind of solution you can go through in order to find the best one for you. Thank you.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.